Okay, so there's a lot of stuff coming out right now. Okay, Buster Olney, Pinstripe, was it Pinstripe Alley? All these other places that the Yankees are working on something big, and everybody's running with it right now. So let's talk about what the options could possibly be, and if they're actually working on something big. So, because we don't know, we just don't know. Do we hope? Yes, of course. But you know, and here's one thing here: Buster Olney is picking up a lot of vibes, and New York is working on something big, and it has Carlos Correa's picture there. Okay, and that's right on Buster Olney's. It's right from Buster Olney. So could they get Carlos Correa? Sure, but keep in mind, I mean, what do they need? They need a left fielder. They need another starting pitcher. They're in heavy play for Carlos Rodon, but what do we know now? Well, his agent wants 7 years, Scott Boras. It sounds, I mean, the settle point's probably going to have to be 6, but they got Sabathia for 7 years at $161 million in 2009, and at the same age, at 29 years old. So there's a good chance they could get Rodon, even though Sabathia was not an injury risk like Rodon is, so that could work against them. But I'm expecting at least 6 years. It looks like the Yankees don't want to exceed 5, so that could preclude them from getting Carlos Rodon. But we just don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. Okay? They still need a left fielder. Yoshida's off the board. Bellinger's off the board. I don't think they want to get Bellinger anyway, but you still have Benintendi out there, right? And Nimmo's off the board now. He's back with the Mets. But in order to do something big, that's probably going to require, and if you have Carlos Correa there, he's going to be a very expensive free agent. So what's that going to mean? You're going to have to trade for a left fielder. And I've said this for about a year now. Okay? Brian Reynolds is the right guy to get. Okay? And they're going to have to trade for somebody like that with controllable years, or somebody very cheap and very young with lots of controllable years. In order for them to afford a Carlos Correa and a Carlos Rodon, all right, you're going to have to do something like that, unless they want to run up their payroll way over $300 million, which I know they don't want to, but they could, because they have a lot of money coming off. And I went over this as well. I went over the payroll for the next several years. They've got a boatload coming off the books after next year, too. So they could kind of help them reset anyway. Okay? And they're not at the highest tier of payroll penalties to begin with. So they could do that as well. But there's something big. Does that also mean that if they don't get Correa, this something big could be packaging somebody else for a trade like a Brandon Woodruff or a Corbin Burns or another big starter? Rather than a Rodon spending $170, $180 million on Rodon, they trade for somebody with a couple years of control, which saves up money for them to afford Carlos Correa, if they want to do that. Okay? And then a trade for Brian Reynolds. Because the bottom line is they need a left fielder. Okay? They need another starting pitcher, a good starting pitcher to go with Garrett Cole, and somebody, a permanent player at probably third base. I'd say more likely than shortstop, because I'm very averse to trading Oswald Peraza right now. I would love for him to get the opportunity to get the starting position at shortstop. And then if they get Carlos Correa, okay. Does that mean he plays third? He's shown a willingness to play third. Doesn't mean he played third. And does that also mean that IKF becomes a super utility guy and Josh Donaldson's going? Are they going to eat money or whatever? I know they're generally allergic to eating money like that too. So do they have other things in the works? And they could have a bunch of things. Like they could make 4 moves in a day. It's happened before. Cashman's done this stuff before, and when we least expect it. So, and the expectations are high still. I mean, the people want Rodon and they want him bad. I'm one of them. Rodon is he's a bulldog on the mound. He's tough. He's made for New York. He's a dominant lefty. He doesn't give up a lot of hits or home runs. He strikes out a boatload of people, and he'll fit in perfectly. Yes, there are injury concerns, but that's one reason I also, promoted a 6-man rotation before. And there's nothing wrong with having a 6-man rotation either. Even guys like Garrett Cole, he doesn't, need 35 starts. He could pitch more innings per start and less starts and still be just as durable. Okay? And he'd still get 180, 200 innings. So, there's so many different ways you can do it. Okay? And if you want to keep guys like Rodon healthy, that's a good, whether it's a 6-man rotation or putting a 6-man every other rotation, or every third rotation to stretch out his rest a little bit, there's a way you could do it too. So, but there's chatter right now, and it's coming from Buster Olney and a lot of other places. And again, people are running with it. I'm sure you've seen other videos. They're working on something big or whatever. This is just part of it, right? And let's see right now. I'm going to take a look and see if there's anything popping up on MLBTradeRumors.com, which is one of the more reputable websites in terms of baseball rumors and things like that. No, nothing right now. Okay, it's kind of swimming all over Twitter right now too. And again, people are running with it, so we have to take it with a grain of salt because we don't know what the hell that means. They're working on something big. Okay, something big could have been Correa and Brian Reynolds, and then they still need another reliever. And we've already heard that they're working on trying to acquire another reliever or sign another reliever. Could it be Andrew Chafin? Could it be somebody else? Could it be that moving Gleyber Torres for Gregory Soto, which I would love. I don't know if they would move Gleyber Torres in a package for Brian Reynolds because he makes more than Brian Reynolds, and they're both an arbitration player. So, I don't think that the Pirates would want to add payroll for a player who's not as good as Brian Reynolds. So, it just doesn't make any sense from their standpoint. We'd have to eat probably half the salary. So, what are these big moves that they're working on, that they're supposedly working on? Okay, and again, I will keep you updated on everything, especially if this stuff starts to have teeth and we start to get some traction on this. You'll get updated. So if you're not subscribed, you know exactly what to do so you don't miss this stuff. And again, this I wanted to go with it because is this speculation? Does it have teeth? Is it bullcrap? Like, what are your thoughts? Does it excite you? I mean, the potential excites me. It excites me more when it has teeth, when it has some credibility. When I'm hearing multiple sources talk about it, and the Yankees, they're plotting something big, or they're in the middle of it. They're working on something big. They're close to finalizing something big. Like, that's got a little bit more juice for me. That stuff gets me excited. But, the potential of working doesn't do anything for me. I need to see some teeth with this type of stuff. And again, as would so many other top content creators, I would hope. And again, what's your something big? Is it Rodon, Correa, and Brian Reynolds? Is it Rodon, Reynolds, and a reliever? Like, what is it? And how can they facilitate it? Because they would have to eliminate other payroll to some degree, whether it be Torres, Hicks, Donaldson, all three, or a combination of three. And again, they have, I think, another 40 to 60 million coming off the books after this season. So could they absorb a big hit for the year and hit the Uncle Cohen penalty box? Yeah, they could. Do they want to? I have no idea. But again, Cohen's a repeat offender. Okay, the Yankees are not a repeat offender in that category, so they don't have to worry about the 90 cents on the dollar or whatever it is. Which is, I heard them talking about the Nimmo contract. That's going to be, almost double of what they're going to offer from 160. It's going to cost them like $250 million for a freaking Nimmo contract because of penalties if they're at that level throughout that entire duration of the contract, which I doubt they'll be. But this is how this stuff adds up pretty quickly. But again, this stuff is gaining traction in other areas, which is why I want to put out a video on it. I want to know what you think. Load up the comments. And again, what would your working on something big be? Would it be 2 moves? Would it be 3 moves? What would your moves be? Get it in the comments, and let's talk about this one, baby. Over and out.